Notice Hebrews 4, verse number 1. When he starts off verse number 1 with therefore, he's summing up what he has previously been talking about. He said, therefore, since a promise remains of entering his rest, let us fear, lest any of you seem to come short of it, of the rest or the blessing that God has promised you. You know Israel missed it. You know they didn't receive their rest or their blessing. But he said, let us fear, lest any of you seem to come short of it. You know, examine yourself. Look at your life. Notice verse number 2. For indeed, or truly, or verily, the gospel of the good news was preached to us as well as to them. But the word which they heard did not profit them. Didn't do them any good. Why? Not being mixed with faith in those who did what? Heard it. Are y'all with me tonight? Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, based upon those two verses, our subject tonight is in the form of a question. Tell your neighbor, our subject tonight, are you profiting from the preaching? Look at somebody else and ask them, are you profiting from the preaching? Look at one person right in his or her eyes and ask them, are you profiting from the preaching? Now, we can talk about them all day and all night. How many know that to be true? I mean, we can sit and talk about, man, what was wrong with them, and they didn't even have to pay for all they had to do was trust God, and God was going to help them run the enemy. They had no business looking at how big the giant was. If God with you, you can defeat a giant. That's what you say about them. But you don't talk like that about your giants that's defeating you right now. That's the first thing I want you to realize tonight in my start is that when the word is preached to us and we receive the word or we live by the word should cause us to profit. Number one, when I deal with you tonight about the word should cause you to profit, I'm first of all saying to you that the word should help you. The preached word should help you. It should help you. So that says about us, when we come to church on Sundays and Wednesdays, we coming to get some what? We don't come to play. We don't come to see what nobody got on. Come on, we come to get some what? Help in the form of the preached what? Word. Why Pastor Dillon this like that? Because everybody don't look at the word like this. Number two, that word should cause improvement. Or things should get better because of the word. See, because listen, God knows sometimes we're going to come in here and we're going to be caught up in some stuff. Needing help, needing for some improvement to take place. So would I be right in saying that if you setting up on an anointed word, you can't help but to improve if you're receiving it? I'm going somewhere tonight. I'm saying if you setting up on an anointed word, I don't care what you're going through, if you start receiving the word going to deal with what you're going through. God going to make sure the word hits you where you are. And so when he send that word should improve my situation if I'm living by it. No way you're going to live by the preached word and it not improve or cause your situation to be better. Whatever your situation may be, because we all got different situations. Come on, somebody. But God's word is so powerful that when he sends the word, he does so to help everybody no matter where they at and no matter what they battling with. He basically comes out and says, here's something to improve that. Here's something that'll cause that to get better. See, a whole lot of folk, you know, they going to look down on preaching. They going to feel like preaching can't help your situation. Listening to no pastor is not going to help you. You better get up and do whatever you need to do. But understand tonight, when you listen to the right preacher, preaching will help you. Oh, my Lord. Boy, it's some folk up in the house that got saved through anointed preaching. Got delivered up under anointed preaching. You were broke until you heard some anointed preaching. You were busted and disgusted until you heard some anointed preaching. See, I know I got a few folk up in here that you are a product of what anointed preaching can do. See, listen to me tonight. My life is a product of what anointed preaching can do for a person. You can be all wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in sin, but get up under some anointed preaching. Watch this. Listen to a preacher that's not just preaching something, but believes what he's preaching. Listen to a preacher that lives by what he gives the people of God. Listen to a preacher that's been transformed by what he gives the people of God. But you better high five your neighbor and shout, show it right. Tell your neighbor, preaching will change your life. You can be a drunk until you hear some good preaching. You can be strung out on crack and get up under some good preaching and get delivered. But understand this also, good preaching will challenge you. I said good preaching will challenge you. Challenge your mentality. Challenge the way you think. Some of us, that's what we need. We need to be challenged. So if the preached word should cause us to profit, or it should improve us, or it should make us better. See, the question tonight is, why are so many of us being defeated? Because you've been setting up under the preaching. And you done heard over 5 messages so far this year. Watch, I'm going somewhere. But yet, look at your marriage. How can your marriage stay that bad and the word's supposed to help you? How you going to remain broke? And the preacher been teaching you how you can be blessed. Woo, it's quiet out there. We started the year off with you saying you needed to let go of that bad attitude. Now preaching been coming, but why is the word not helping you with your jacked up ways, with your jacked up attitude, with your jacked up thinking? How are you setting up under good preaching, but you not changing? Woo! How you bragging about how good your church is, yet when folk look at your life, your church don't look so good after all. How are you all still tangled up in sin? And you coming week out and week in hearing from an anointed preacher, but you can't let certain stuff go. I don't understand that. Because the anointing is what destroys the yoke. I submit to you that some of us, we just used to have in church, but we ain't ready to change the way we live, the way we think, and the way we talk. I submit to you that some of us, we just used to have in church. We just used to have in church. We just used to have in church, but we ain't ready to change the way we live, the way we think, and the way we talk.